Hi everybody, YouTube. It's me. How you doing? So, anyway, yeah, I'm not doing good. I've been hurting so bad today. Like, I don't know. Like, the medicine helps, but no medicine will ever take all the pain away. No medicine will ever take all the nausea away. You just have to deal with it, you know, the best you can. So, I don't know. I guess I'm doing okay. Compared to some others. I have some friends right now in really bad sickle cell crises, and they've been hospitalized. So, I guess I'm doing good. Well enough to be at home, and that's something to be grateful for. So if you're new to this, the purpose of this blog is to answer any questions, to bring awareness, and to expose a view of sickle cell that has never been seen before, besides the doctors and other people in the medical profession that we deal with. We go through a lot. We go through being called drug addicts. Well, the proper term that's used in the medical field is drug seekers. Let me get that right. We've been called so many things. And when I say we, I mean me, and out of 106 patients I've met, 90 had the same experiences I have. And so it's hard. We go through a lot for, you know, the new people that are watching and don't know anything about it. And I said this in one of my first blogs that I did, and it took me like 2 years to bring myself to doing this because it's just so transparent and you just letting people in on so much. And, you know, there aren't makeup artists and hair people and wardrobe and all that. You know, it is what it is. And you know, you don't know how vain you are and how insecure you are, I guess I would say, about being transparent until you do something like this. And so, you know, you just have to have a realness, and that's why people love YouTube, because it's that realness that everybody is looking for. So, you know, it's none of the fancy stuff, no Hollywood. This is just it. I wanted to talk about how sickle cell patients and the income that we receive, you know, and how it's hard to work. And almost every job that I've had, they either end up taking me off the schedule little by little, like after my first crises, and that's how I end up receiving disability. Employers just would not work with me or even tolerate me missing a day from work. And I never not called in. I would always call in, I mean, ahead of time, you know, before I come in and let them know, and so they didn't have to, you know, find somebody at the last minute to replace me. And I never did that. And I ended up on disability, and it's amazing how your life can change. And, you know, for the people out there that are having a pretty good life, which is good and a blessing, but in the blink of an eye it can all change, and it's amazing how it changes. And you know, from there I went from being in college to working to being disabled on disability and at home a lot, and it changed so fast, and it was almost a culture shock for me, you know. And then I ended up going to jail. And that's when I first found out that I was pregnant, and I was in jail, and they were going to charge me with a felony. And it went well, you know, because when I went to court, the judge told me, she said, you shouldn't be here. You're intelligent. She said, you're capable of making something out of yourself, and you shouldn't be here. And it was just due to circumstances. Sometimes your environment and circumstances influences you to the point of you doing things that are out of your character. But, you know, and so I was, y'all, I mean, I was out there. I just went ham in the streets, like, really. Everything that you might have seen in, you know, the movies, I did it all. And she's just like, you know what? I'm gonna give you this, you know, she said, you don't get many second chances, but I'm gonna give you a second chance. I've never told this story on here. And she gave me a second chance. She released me from jail, and she told me if I stayed out of trouble for 2 years, they would completely expunge it from my record. And she did so. So life turned around for me, right? Well, maybe 3 or 4 months later, I end up homeless. And, you know, missing a lot of days from work, my sickle cell got worse, and it just led to me not being able to afford to pay my rent. You know, and I called up some family members, and none of them would help me. None of them would let me rent a room. I was even willing to sleep on the floor. I was willing to give $500 just to sleep on someone's floor, and no one in my family came to my rescue. No one offered help. And I actually had more people that weren't family members that were more helpful to me than my family. And I still love them, nothing against them, they're not bad people. It made me who I am, and it made me strong, and it showed me who God was, and it showed me that I don't put my trust in people, because people will let you down. And I don't care if it's a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, mother, father, sister, brother, aunt, niece, cousin, whatever it may be, great-great-great-grandma, whatever it is. People are fickle, and people are one way one minute, another way the next. People aren't perfect, and people will let you down every single time. And so, you know, I have no resentment or bitterness about it. And so I was sleeping in my truck, and after the few nights of that, you know, I would go to a 24-hour store. That way security is driving around the parking lot the whole time, so I would be somewhat safe. And I ended up losing my car. My mom, she suffered, you know, with an illness, alcoholism, and I deal with bipolar, and, you know, in the household and everything. And so that was pretty rough there, and I had nowhere to turn. And even in other people's mind, you should have did this or you should have did that, but it's not that easy when you're in a situation. So I went to my church, and I had been a member there for a long time and paid my tithes faithfully, you know, and they had helped me with some fees when I went off to college. And so they put me in a homeless shelter. And the homeless shelter, to say the least, it was terrible. People were doing drugs there, the people that ran the shelter. And because I had been around it, I grew up around drugs, everything you think of, you know, and I mean, again, I'm the girl that had felony charges, you know, that were expunged from my record. And so I told them, you know, that I'm here so that I can reestablish myself and get on my feet. And this is not an environment I need to be around, especially while I'm pregnant. You know, and we weren't getting fed properly. We had to wake up at 5 in the morning, clean up. We had to leave the homeless shelter, and we weren't allowed to come back until 4 o'clock in the evening. So I would sit on the side of the street every day. Nowhere to go, nothing to do. I mean, I was disabled, getting disability. How was I going to be out looking for a job until 4 o'clock? And they wouldn't even, you know, let me sit in the shelter during those hours, so I would sit outside. And one day this guy, he walked, wait a minute, make sure I got more time. Okay, let me do, like, the second part of this. Okay, wait a minute. Finish telling them my story.